Hello, you're going to watch a video from this channel series about the components of the Airbus A320 aircraft. Mechanics like to be sitting in the cockpit of an A320 and being able to check for faults that may be present in the aircraft systems. But do you know how this information is collected? You will now see the computer responsible for this task. The CFDIU computer is a line replaceable unit, LRU, and is installed in the main electronics equipment bay, EE, which is on the right side of the aircraft, slightly forward of the front cargo compartment and below one of the aircraft doors. This computer is installed in Rack 87VU, in Zone 127. Its chapter, ATA, in the maintenance manual is 31 and the subchapter 32. Like the other units in this rack, this computer has ventilation to ensure that it does not overheat. The Centralized Fault Display Interface Unit, CFDIU, centralizes and memorizes all information concerning aircraft system failures. Reading or printing of the failure information is done in the cockpit. Most aircraft system computers have a built-in test equipment, byte. The byte permanently monitors the system operation. When a failure is detected, it is stored in the byte memory and is transmitted to the CFDIU. The Electronic Centralized Aircraft Monitoring, ECAM, which generate warning and status messages, delivers these data to the CFDIU as well. The failure information is available in various reports. The reading of the failure information is made from two different MCDU multipurpose control display units menus depending on if the aircraft is in flight or on ground. The system report or test function is available on ground only. The maintenance post-flight report, PFR, can only be printed on ground. It summarizes and displays the list of the ECAM warning messages and the fault messages that occurred during the last flight, with the associated time, flight phase, and ATA. It helps the maintenance crew to make a correlation for easier troubleshooting. For safety reasons, these line replaceable units, LRUs, are permanently monitored. They can be tested and troubleshooting can be performed. The failures are classified according to their importance. Class 1 failures are the most serious ones and require an immediate maintenance action subject to the Minimum Equipment List, MEL. Class 2 failures may have consequences if a second failure occurs and must be repaired within 10 days. The Class 3 failures can be left uncorrected until the next scheduled maintenance check. Most systems can memorize failures, which occurred in the last 64 flight legs and communicates electronically using a RINC 429 protocol. This is a Type 1 system. Type 2 systems memorize only failures from the last flight leg and communicates via electronic and discrete signals. Type 3 systems are simple systems linked only using discrete signals and cannot memorize failure messages. Class 1 failures have an operational consequence on the flight. Need check the Minimum Equipment List, MEL, to assess if the release will be go, go if, or no-go. You can display on the MCDU in leg report and leg ECAM report. These faults are also indicated to the crew in flight by the Electronic Centralized Aircraft Monitoring, ECAM display units, and by local warning in the cockpit. Class 2 failures have no immediate operational consequence and can be displayed on request on the ECAM status page, under the maintenance title. You can display on the MCDU in the last or current leg report and leg ECAM report. A Class 2 failure has to be repaired within 10 days. MEL is go without any condition. The example given here concerns the Cabin Intercommunication Data System, CIDS fault. Class 3 failures have no operational consequence. All aircraft systems remain available. Do not refer to the MEL, no fixed time for correction. However, correction is recommended to improve the dispatch reliability. These faults are not indicated to the crew, but you can display the name of the systems affected by at least a Class 3 failure in the avionics status, only available on ground. These failures may be corrected during programmed maintenance operations. The GMT date initial function is available only in case of clock failure and CFDIU power interrupt. In normal operation, the CFDIU receives the time from the clock and shows the time on the ECAM system display. Reinitialization of the time and the date will be only necessary after a power cutoff. It shall be carried out on MCDU through the GMT date initial function entered by using the scratchpad. The post-flight report, PFR, is the sum of the last leg report and of the last leg ECAM report. The PFR can only be printed on ground. The list of ECAM warning messages and fault messages with the associated time, flight phase and ATA reference allow the maintenance crew to make a correlation for easier troubleshooting. Beginning of PFR recording. It happens if flight number inserted prior to first engine start, and the first engine started more 3 minutes. If don't have these conditions, recording beginning at aircraft speed more of 80 knots. CFDIU main functions are memory, management, correlation, monitoring and detection. This computer stores the failure messages and the electronic centralized aircraft monitoring warning messages in a non-volatile memory, NVM. If a computer internal failure is detected, the CFDIU achieves a correlation function that means it isolates or ignores the malfunctions of systems relating to this failure. After a malfunction, the crew reports the cockpit effect in the logbook. The fault symptoms, relative to the cockpit effect, can be a warning or malfunction and a failure message. A warning or malfunction with its correlated fault could have several associated fault isolation procedure tasks according to the systems, which have detected the fault. The last leg report shows failure information delivered by the built-in test equipments, bytes, of the aircraft systems. It can store up to 40 failures occurred during the last leg. The Source and Identifiers page shows the list of systems affected by the source failure, which is an external failure for them. When you select the print line key, all the last leg report is printed, even if it contains several pages.
The last leg ECAM report shows the list of electronic centralized aircraft monitoring warning messages and sent to the Centralized Fault Display Interface Unit by the Flight Warning Computers, FWC. It can store up to 40 warnings occurred during the last leg. Documentary data appears on the print report. The aircraft identification, date and Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, the flight number, and the city pair airports. At each new flight leg, the content of the last leg report is transferred into the previous leg's report. This report can store up to 200 failures over the last 64 flight legs. The previous leg's report is displayed only on ground. As the leg number changes at ground to flight transition, the content of the last leg report is stored and identified in the previous leg's report under the leg -01. At flight to ground transition, the last leg report in the previous leg's report is identified as 00. The avionics status presents the list of systems which are currently affected by failure. This function is only available on ground. The information presented is permanently updated. The avionics status also indicates the Class 3 failures. Note that there could also be Class 1 or 2 failures. When you make a print, all the avionics status report is printed even if it contains several pages. You have learned about the main functions of the Centralized Fault Display Interface Unit, CFDIU, and the reports that can be generated from the data it collects. The faults are recorded by the computer and can be consulted later to be used in troubleshooting tasks. It's good getting to know these functions and using them in your maintenance work routines.
If you like the content of this video, please appreciate this work by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Thanks and see you in the next video.